2 years ago, right after getting my first client right off of YouTube, which was a spectacular case story, and after publishing my first book on Amazon, I chose to stop taking on clients and stop teaching my live classes. And I'm going to tell you in this video why I did that and why more women need to start recognizing that momentum alone does not help you succeed in your business long term, and why this strategic move that I've chosen to do is actually going to benefit in the long term and allow me to charge more for my services and also create a bigger impact. Hi, my name is Carly Bondard, and if you've been following me for a while, then you already know that I'm the author of the book Your Empowered Birth, and I have another channel which is basically devoted to pregnancy and birth information. And I have a tagline that's basically information is free, and I charge for access to me. Now, if you've been following me on this one, you may have noticed that I have kind of shifted gears from my typical vlog style of my videos, where I was just freestyling and sharing my insights in a very haphazard way. Now it's going to be a little bit more streamlined because I'm now turning this one into a secondary teaching channel for Empowered Mom Magic. So there's two different sides to my business that emerged over time, and this ties into the story of why I took a step back after publishing my first book and having this amazing win with my client who had paid me $1,700 basically to work with her. It was about 1,500 something on her side because she was paying in euros, but it translated to more money for me on my side because, the rates go up. So I recognized, oh, if I can do that in 6 weeks of work, and I can have this amazing transformation where I thought it would take 3 months for them to have that confidence, then that gave me more of the confidence to be like, you know what, my book is powerful, my system is powerful, I need to create my program. So I have two sides, Empowered Birth Wisdom and Empowered Mom Magic. And this is the Empowered Mom Magic side, where you can basically take all of the concepts from what I taught in Your Empowered Birth and within my birth community, and you can apply them to other aspects of your life. I've done this for relationships, I've done this for business building, I've done this for parenting, and I've done this for identity shifting. It's a full life transformation, and currently I'm also working on the book No More Mommy Martyr, The Path to Sovereign Motherhood, which integrates this at a deeper level. So watch out for that book when it comes out. If you are on my newsletter, you already know about Empowered Mom Magic, and you already know about Empowered Birth Wisdom and how I've been able to integrate the two into one. Because I believe that birth is also a metaphor for business, and business is a metaphor for birth. And how I've basically approached everything in my business building, in my entrepreneurship journey, has been all of the things that I learned in the birth industry, plus what I saw from my mentors. You see, a lot of times you see these coaches online, especially women entrepreneurs, and we get these wins in our business. We get all excited because it's the first time we've ever actually made money for ourselves through something that we've created. It's awesome. It feels so good to know that we have value outside of what we can produce for others in a business of their making and a company that doesn't pay us as much. I mean, you know how men tend to make a lot more money than women at the same job with the same roles, and then we take on the emotional labor. It's no accident that women are leaving the corporate world and trying to start their own businesses. And it's definitely no accident that a lot of moms are like, you know what, I want to stay home and raise my babies, but I also want to have my own income. I'm going to be very clear on this. We cannot rely on outside sources to give us income. We just can't. I saw the writing on the wall back in 2020 when the moms with the really good jobs that were flexible, suddenly they were the ones getting laid off, the ones that were so loyal to the company that they were missing their kids' recitals and their Christmas concerts and all kinds of special activities for their kids, and they had to choose between their kids or their work all the time. And suddenly they were laid off. And then there were the stay-at-home moms who were already doing everything. And then their partners were at home suddenly, but the workload didn't change. And a lot of marriages started to fall apart. We saw the cracks. Building a business can be really exciting. It's like getting pregnant and being able to plan your birth. But there are built-in traps within the system that keep us from rising as high as we could rise. And one of the books that I was reading, We Should All Be Millionaires by Rachel Rogers, had even talked about how when women accumulate wealth, we end up distributing that out into our communities, and we build foundations, and we are making lives better for people, and we are more connected to our families, and we are raising our children in a more effective way. But there are two dichotomies here as well. Just like within the birth industry, there's two dichotomies in the mom entrepreneur and just being a mom in general. There's either mommy martyr syndrome, where you're sacrificing all of your dreams and just serving other people, and we overgive and overgive and overgive. And then over time, there's built-in resentment, not to mention our entire identity is on just serving other people. And you can also fall into this as an entrepreneur, where you're giving away everything for free. And you're giving your time for free. You're giving the free calls. You're doing free classes. You're doing discounts. You're doing scholarships. And you're thinking, this is going to get me where I want to go, because you're following a model where they say, go to this free class and now we'll sell you into high ticket. But you don't see the other side of that. And I was very fortunate at the beginning of my journey when I realized my ex has cheated on me. He has gotten another woman pregnant. No matter how much money he makes, it's going to go to this other woman. He already is sacrificing the money that is needed for our kids so that he can make up for his play money, because he now has to give her $300 a month. So he's like, well, where's that money going to come from for my stuff? Well, guess where he took it from? So recognizing that women get trapped in marriages, women get trapped in corporate jobs, we get trapped in low income jobs, we get trapped raising our kids at home as stay-at-home moms, we get trapped. And the system is designed to keep us trapped, even as we're trying to become the boss babe, the mom that does everything, which is the other side of it, supermom syndrome. You know this one too, okay? It's the super mom who's doing everything, and she's attending all of the events, and she's raising her kids, sometimes even on her own, and she's also building her business, and she's making bank. Yay, super mom, right? Except that there is a problem with that model as well, where you don't get any rest. So hustle culture is built into this. And whether you are already a mom or you're thinking of becoming a mom, yes, when you have children, that can lead to you not being able to accomplish things as fast as somebody who didn't. At the same time, you can get a lot done. That little blue book behind me, I wrote it in 2 months while raising my kids and dealing with a very combative ex who was constantly changing his mind about when he wanted to see the kids. It's like, this weekend is good. And then we had a schedule set up. And then he's like, we need to switch weekends because I've got a new girlfriend and I need to switch weekends so that it actually matches up with her schedule for her ex so that we have no kids. And I'm like, fine, whatever. I'm not even going to fight with you on this. It's not worth my time and energy. I'm taking classes and I'm learning my skills on how to show up on camera. I was a huge introvert before. So as polished and happy as I look on camera, I used to be terrified of getting in front of the camera. I didn't know anything about speaking. I used to even hide my writing behind a pen name. I didn't want anybody to know who I was. I wasn't going to use my own name. So I went from being this shy little wallflower who's like, nobody wants to listen to me, to now I can speak on anything. So by going with these mentors, and I was very lucky to have found them at the beginning of my journey, they showed me the industry secrets. And one of them that they told me at the beginning is if you want somebody to actually be transformed by your book, if you actually want your book to be good, and I wanted a book, that was one of my dreams, is I always wanted to have a book on the shelf that had my name on it and my picture. I was basically told coach first. And so when I was told coach first, I'm like, okay, so now I need to become a coach. How do I do that? And I couldn't invest in their high level programs. I just didn't have the money. I didn't have the time, but they did have something called Startup Club. And that was a small investment. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to pay this 49 US to learn every single Wednesday in class for an hour and figure out what I need to do. And, there's a lot of people that will invest in these lower level programs. They don't do the work. So this is an industry secret, is they don't do the work. You could have a lot of students in your class, but how many are actually getting the results? When you have a large group, it's very easy to lose track of people. There's a lot that won't raise their hands. There's a lot that don't even have their camera on. There's a lot that tune out. There's a lot that will take all the information, take all the notes, but they won't implement. And I saw this even with people that were much older than me, that even had corporate jobs before, that were very serious about their business, and they still weren't doing the work. And this was more common with women because as women, we have been conditioned by society to do it all. So with supermom syndrome, you have the group of women, or even superwoman syndrome, where we're just go, 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 go all the time. And we have this momentum. And everybody's clapping for us. Everybody is clapping for us. Like all the ones that are like, yay, you can do it. Just keep going. Just keep going. No, that fear that you have, that's just telling you that you're on the right track. Keep going. Keep going. They don't tell you that the system wants you to reach a certain point where you crash out or burn up before you get to that destination that you wanted to get to. And it's built in. Now, I've written a report about this, so you can DM me. You can reach out to me, hello@empoweringmomsbirth.com, or if you're on Threads or any of my other social media, you can always just DM me. I don't really check YouTube as much, but my other social media channels, you just say, hey, Carly, where's that report? And I'll give it to you. It tells you why this is. And this is exactly why I took a pause with my business. Because another industry secret is that a lot of people will buy your course, but they won't go through it. And they don't get the results, which means you don't get the case studies and you don't know if your course actually helped them or not. You may never hear from them again. There are people who will buy your course and that course will sit in an inbox. And I'm guilty of this too. I've bought courses and I haven't even gone through them yet, but I do know that when I'm ready for that transformation, that's information for me. So I buy courses in a more intentional way of this could be useful information later. At the same time, if that information had been freely accessible, I would have just got it off of the blog posts and been able to pass it on to people. And so this is why in my business, it's information is free and I charge for access to me. I set up my courses in a way that it psychologically transforms people and keeps them going through the process, but that's still not what they're paying for. They're paying for the direct support aspect of it. You see, the other thing I noticed with the industry secrets is that the ones that actually did succeed had a high touch level of coaching and support. So yeah, we had the low level programs, but not everybody was getting the actual high touch support from the mentors, whereas I was. I would raise my hand, I would ask the questions. I would basically also frame that question in a way that would benefit everyone. And I became a star student. And when I did that, that's when they gave me a higher level program to go through in exchange for my work. So I'm like, you know what? I will happily run that class for you so that you can go and be with your kids for the summer. I will happily go and edit this piece of copy for you so that you have other eyes on it and you're not bogged down on this and you can do your high level thing. I'm happy to go through this coaching manual and go through with a fine tooth comb. I'm happy to show up and run the chat for you so that you have the live events in exchange for that program. And so I treated that program as if I had paid for it, I had invested actual money in it. And I noticed that I was implementing and getting the results. And I was coaching at the time. I had my first clients. I was teaching classes at that time. I was running workshops. I was doing all of the things that you would think super mom. But at the same point, I also noticed that there's another secret that my mentors wanted me to learn, which was to be able to emotionally regulate and to be able to allow my nervous system to adjust. It takes time for your nervous system to adjust to a higher level, and it takes time for an identity shift to happen. And when we just go with our rocket fuel and we go, rah, 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 I'm going in this direction, I'm just going to say goodbye to my fears without actually doing the work of going through and figuring out what those fears are, dissecting those fears, integrating those fears and being like, okay, these things can't scare me anymore. But instead just being like, oh, fear, you're over here in the corner and I'm just going to ignore you. Guess what creeps up later on in your business? Exactly. So I'd seen this happening to a lot of the people that were in the same courses as me, where they would get a certain level of success, but then they would hit that limit and they would just freeze up. And I also saw this with my mentors and what they were telling in their stories. And they're like, you're always going to have those crying in the shower moments. It's just how well can you integrate that? And so they didn't just teach a whole bunch of marketing tips and they didn't just teach sales strategy and they didn't just teach how to get good on video. They also got me to learn the emotional regulation skills and to be able to allow my nervous system to adjust. And you really need that component. You need it for business and you need it for relationships too. You need it for birth as well. You need to be able to hold that intensity. So one of the things I talk about in my other business with Empowered Birth is about leaning into that intensity and not running away from it, not tensing up the fear, tension, pain cycle. And a lot of what I teach is really working through those fears that have been pre-programmed within our birth culture and medical system to get moms to trust the experts over themselves. So you need to be able to come to your intuition and you need to be able to recognize where your upper limit is before you even hit that ceiling. See, most people, they just keep pushing forward and they keep trying to bang up against that ceiling. And they don't recognize that that ceiling was intentionally put there to keep them crashing out. And it could be a very high ceiling. And they say, yeah, you can get up here, but are you going to be able to get back up there after you crash? And see, this is where a lot of people start investing in outside marketing. They invest in high-level coaching that they can't actually afford. They burn themselves out trying to collaborate with people that aren't actually aligned. Their business strategy is all over the place. Their content, they try to refine their content, but they don't have the root system. And the root system is why I intentionally was like, okay, I have my book. I have proven my process by coaching. And I have these amazing case stories. Now I have the actual proof. I don't just have information. I took my information, I created a framework around it. I went first. This is important. You need to go first. I recognized where all of my fears were. I supported people for free before I was a coach, and I saw their results. I paid attention to what was going on in the birth community. I was looking at where people were missing it. I was watching where people higher up than me were also missing it. And I took all that as data. And then what I did with it is I'm like, this is how I'm going to intentionally run my business at this level. I also took what my mentors had taught me and I added that to my strategy. And I've got mentors that have been in this for like over 20 years that have like combined experience from other high level mentors, like big, big names in business and marketing. Like, I'm not going to name them all, but if you've been following me for a while, you may know some of the people I'm in connection with. Well, I'm not just in connection with them. I also benefit from all of their wisdom and knowledge that they invested in their mentors and also their students that went beyond them and people that they worked with in collaboration. I have all of that combined knowledge, and I have that for birth, and I also have that for business and marketing. So when I'm out there on social media and somebody is trying to sell their high ticket program, I'm not going to knock them for it. Okay. Like, women definitely need to be selling high ticket. We need to be charging what we're worth, and we are worth a lot. And we are totally justified in those prices. But I'm going to caution you, when you are doing that, there is also a shadow that a certain system, I don't need to name that system. If you've been following me for a while and you know my tagline on Threads, you know what that system is, and you know what I'm against, and you know what I'm for, and you know that I want you to rise. But that system is still controlling you. And they are counting on you to not see this shadow. They are counting on you to keep going as you're going. Because eventually what's going to happen is you're going to burn out. And then they're going to say, well, see, this is why women CEOs shouldn't be in power, because they get too emotional and then they burn out. And what happens when you have kids is your business has to change. So yeah, you can continue to make all of the bank you want, but the second you add a partner and family, then things start to fall apart and you don't always know why. And I actually have mapped this out. This is why I wrote my report. This is why I'm writing No More Mommy Martyr, The Path to Sovereign Motherhood. And this is also why I've framed my business in a certain way. So I could see all of this. I saw what was coming for me. I knew what was going to come in year 5. I knew what was going to come in year 10. I could see what would happen if I even made it to year 20. And I'm like, this is so important to me. This is my baby. This is my dream. This is the impact I want to make for other women so that we can all be set free. And I can see every single trap that's being laid out. And if I go in the direction that typically is suggested, I'm going to burn out. Especially as a single mom, I'm going to burn out. As the head of my family, I'm going to burn out. I don't have the outside support right now. I don't have a partner to take on anything. I'm going to burn out if I do not reframe things. And I happen to be someone who rises from the ashes, no matter what is thrown at me. And I've had a lot thrown at me. If you want to know some of my stories, I mean, they're in my book, they're in my videos, and I've got so many more. When things get thrown at me and trying to throw me into the fear trap to give up and say, okay, I surrender. Come save me, man, who is going to make all my problems go away. Come save me, system. Come save me, job. Like all of the things that they want us back into the box, I won't go in that box. I just won't go in that box. I look at that box as it's a safety net, but we don't stay in it. So you have to know the difference between a cage that is like going to slam shut on you versus a butterfly garden sanctuary. And if you aren't familiar with that, then you haven't read chapter 5 of my book, No More Mommy Martyr, The Path to Sovereign Motherhood. And yes, I know the book isn't done yet. At the same time, that chapter is. So if you want that chapter, you can always reach out to me, ask me for it. I'll give it to you because it goes into this deeper. So recognizing what's a cage and what's a sanctuary to rest your wings. You also have to recognize that, yeah, there's dangers out there as you're flying high. So you do need to have that sanctuary, but we don't really know how to build that sanctuary. We're not taught that. We're taught to just keep going. Oh, you're winning, keep going. And this is where I was like, no, I'm not falling for that trap. Nice try. Nice try. You're not gonna get me. Nuh-uh. You're not gonna get me on my ego because I'm detonating that thing right now. I'm going to regulate my nervous system and I'm going to see where I can feel comfortable taking on more money and where I feel comfortable raising my rates. Because I now recognize what I'm saving these moms in thousands and thousands of dollars, not to mention the birth trauma that they've now avoided, not to mention reclaiming their birth experience, not to mention what they do afterwards and building businesses and shifting identities and having more connected relationships with their partners. I mean, this is huge. This is a huge thing. This isn't just about birth. This is like the full picture of what I had always dreamed of. And it's coming into fruition here. Like I'm going to have programs on this and this and this. And at the same time, I want to have a partner and I want to have more kids and I want to have that beautiful family life and I want to be able to be present for my children. I don't want to be just running my business, go, 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 go all the time. I want to be able to breathe and have it still work for me and have it continue to rise even when I'm not there manning the wheel or womaning the wheel, I should say. And so I really looked at all of the mistakes that people were making, and I looked at the mompreneurs and what their challenges were. And I looked at the ones that were childless and were still thinking, I'd like to have a family someday. I was looking at the women who'd made it with their partners beside them and how that worked. I looked at even how men were making mistakes. So I paid attention to all of this. And I attended high-level masterminds with people that have been in this for 20 years or more. And what they'd seen in the industry, all of their industry secrets, because my mentors call out the BS. They tell me what I need to know. They are very candid in what they say in their high-level masterminds and in their high-level programs. So I know that I can trust them because they have that transparency. Not everybody has that transparency. So I take all of that. And then I'm also very transparent with my clients to be like, you know what, this is what's coming for you within the medical system, or this is what's coming for you within mom entrepreneurship. And you really need to be aware of that. Like, yeah, you think that person's making it, but you don't really know if that email that you're copying like word for word to try to replicate their process, if that even worked the way that they wanted it to. You have no idea what the intention is behind that post that you think on the outside, oh, they've got a lot of views. That means that they're making the money. No. No, that doesn't mean that. Because you could have posts and not have anybody commenting on it. And then just like that, somebody books a call with you. And you find out that they'd been quietly following you for months before booking that call. You find out that they were quietly binge watching over a weekend of all of your content, and they're booking that call and they're pre-sold on you. So this is why I took the step back, is so I could build more in my system. And I call it the ecosystem. You may have already heard of this term because I do talk about it quite a bit. It's one of the components of my overall Empowering Moms brand. And it's what I really want to teach other entrepreneurs out there, especially women, especially moms, because what it does is it attracts your aligned clients and it saves you time and energy. And part of the ecosystem is how I approach my business. I no longer do free calls, not even for 15 minutes. I no longer do free calls. I made the decision that I was no longer going to do free calls. I was no longer going to do any free classes. I was no longer going to do any free masterminds or mistress minds. Mastermind is if it's co-ed, mistress mind if it's just women. So I'll just be clear about that. I was no longer going to do free coaching. Like, information is free and I charge for access to me. So that led to me thinking, okay, I already attracted a client from my YouTube channel, which means that if I refine my videos in the masterclass format, those will eventually build up a library of value that also ties into everything else that I have. I have a book now, so I don't need to be like, oh, well, I'll do a $30 call or whatever. No. Minimum $97 for 15 minutes of my time is what my current pricing is. It may change in the future as I get higher up. At the same time, you need to have those minimums and they have to be non-negotiable. So I have non-negotiable pricing that was based on my nervous system. So that's step one, which is that you deserve to be paid what you're worth. And you also recognize how much value you give back in terms of that investment. So I know that anybody who invests in me is going to get 10 times the value just by sitting in the room and being able to ask me questions. Because again, if they're just going through a course and they're not implementing, they're not going to get the results. If they hire me as a coach, but they don't do the work, they're not going to get the results. And I like my clients to actually do the work so that they can come back every week or every 2 weeks and they can give me that data of how it worked for them. So then I can take that and I can put it into a course, or I can put it into a book, or I can put it into a report, or I can put it into a video like I'm doing right now. Creating content, because of my mentors and how they taught me, is easy and effortless for me. I have no script. I'm not reading a script right now. I don't even have a piece of paper in front of me telling me this is the things I'm covering. I'm basically taking my framework and I'm giving it to you raw. Like this is me raw. This is me freestyle. This is me in my flow. And I'm the same way when it comes to when I'm creating my courses. I can create a course easily like that. Within 2 hours, I can have an entire challenge done and schedule that for a whole 5 days. Within a day or two, I can have an entire program done. So recognizing that when the creative flow is there, when you know your process, it's easy and effortless to create those digital products and those books and those courses and come up with a new masterclass that you can teach people in a group, or come up with a topic for a mistress mind or mastermind if it's co-ed, and recognize that you do have all of that value. Your value is you. So I have 3 paths for working with me. Number 1 is do it yourself. You're already on it. Okay, you're already on it because you're watching this video. You're already on the do it yourself path. You could take every single one of my pieces of content and you could binge for hundreds of hours on my content. You still wouldn't get the pinnacle of all of my knowledge that I have. Like, that's the thing. It's like, if you do the do it yourself path, you're waiting for me to get the spark of inspiration and create another piece of content that happens to have that piece in it. The other path is self-study, which is a little bit more streamlined. It's the point A to point B. It's the digital courses. I teach that either through free challenges, which I put on my YouTube channels, or a free masterclass, which you've seen those too. Or what I'll do is I'll create a program and then I'll say, okay, this is a self-study VIP program. That means that you buy this program and then at the end of it, you'll get a graduation call, or you'll get a graduation call plus a Help I'm Stuck mini session, which is a laser coaching session, and it's less than $300. And then after that, though, because again, most people don't finish a program if they don't have high touch, I have my premium coaching. And I don't take on everybody because I want action takers. I want those who are going to implement what I'm actually teaching them, because I want it to ripple out. I want it to be something where they invest at a smaller level and then they get 10 times what they would have invested somewhere else. And they actually get the results because I am committed to them getting those results. So that is basically how I run one level of my ecosystem, and I have others as well. If you want to know this deeper, I did do a report. It is inside of a Google Drive. And if you want access to it, you can email me, hello@empoweringmomsbirth.com, or if you're on my social media, you can DM me. DMing me is even faster because then I'm usually on social media at the time, either networking or commenting on other people's stuff. I'll see that DM and I'll be like, oh, you want that? Yeah, sure. Here's the link. There you go. And it's as simple as you just getting the link. Like there's no need to put in your name and email or anything. It's like, I've already got you in DMs. What do I need to put you on the email list for if you're not ready for that yet? Like, I'm going to give you a taste. So, I mean, there's a whole process behind this, and I don't have time to teach that in this video. I have done a little bit in other videos in my freestyle vlog, so you may be able to find it in other videos. But I just wanted to let you know about that story of why I did the way I did. I do have the report. I'm going to be writing more on this. I'm going to add to No More Mommy Martyr, The Path to Sovereign Motherhood. If you do want to work with me, there is a path for that. Okay. I do sometimes take on group classes to teach certain concepts to people. And if you would like to be on that wait list, then again, the path is to email me or DM me and say, hey, I would really like to know about this piece. Can you tell me more? I also do individual coaching. So if there's something that you'd really like to pick my brain on, I can get you on my calendar if it's a right fit. Again, I don't do free calls, so it is an investment. And I can tell you right now, from the mentors that I've worked with, it's going to be well worth your time to invest, and it will be a lot faster than trying to pick it apart from all of my videos. So the idea with the ecosystem of how I have my paths for pricing, it's, do you want it done fast, faster, or fastest? That's pretty much it. I don't charge for information. I just put it out there as it is inspired. So this is pretty much, there you go. That's why I pulled back. That's why now I've opened my business again to take on clients. I've opened my business again to take on students and to mentor and to have those live classes. So if any of that interests you, reach out to me. If there's someone else who could benefit from watching this video, please pay it forward. Like, share, subscribe, pass this on, because a drop in the ocean creates ripples. Many ripples create waves, and enough waves can change the tide. And here at Empowering Moms, I'm all about changing the tide. I'm really tired of the way that the system keeps rigging against moms, especially. We get the short end of the stick no matter which way we go, and it's built in, and it's a little bit less for women who don't have children. At the same time, we really need to change the game. And the way I've basically woven my ecosystem into every layer of my business is how I'm changing that game. So I'm happy to teach that to you. All right. So thank you so much for watching. Whether you're birthing a baby, birthing a business, a creative project, a movement, an impact, or a new version of yourself, I'm here to help you. And I will see you next time. Namaste.